watching. Like Tracy said, I'm new at Forgestic. I was a controller at a Forgestic customer before. Also maybe my English is not totally perfect, but Tracy will help me if she felt that I need help to.
Will do.
So yes, we will go through cash flow and budget, and we will take a look at the general setting, chart of account reports, and the authorization. We can set authorization for both model. So in the budget, we will follow the same path: general setting, chart of accounts, and budget. So let's start. Okay, cash flow. First of all, you can set this up in general setting, following this path, and going here. The only thing that is important here is that you can put it mandatory. So basically it's optional. So if you want to put it mandatory, but it's here that you do it. So let's take a look at the chart of accounts. Okay, when you have a chart of account that is relevant for the cash flow projection, the little box here is checked. So it's not automatically checked. So when you have, for example, another account that you would need to put relevant to the cash flow, but you just come here and you check the box here to make the account relevant to cash flow, and the system will take those fund into account when projecting the cash flow needs. So after that, pardon me, you just need to update here the account. So we won't do it. And after that, we have to go to financial reports, financial again, and cash flow. So here you have to check all the recurring posting, journal voucher, and you can consider the delays in payment. You can also add marketing document like a purchase order or a sales order. The level of security of those documents are very low because it's not officially in the books when you run the report. So you can add them if you want the system to take into account the sales order and purchase order. So let's see what it looks like when you run the report. Here in our database, we don't have a lot of transactions, so it's tough to show how what it would look like in your environment. So if we expand and we move down, we can see that on September 13, the balance would be $167,000 because the system would take into account the purchase order here, this one and this one. So if we would not have checked the box earlier, those items would not be part of the projection, and that's the same thing here with the sales order. So it's up to you if you want to add those sales order and purchase order in your cash flow projection. You can, but if you want to not add, but you just have to uncheck the boxes that we saw earlier. So and you can obviously put your range of date, and you will have your projected cash flow needs for the range of date that you will have set up. So if you move to the other report, you can generate also the statement of cash flow, which is mandatory in some localization. So same thing, you have to put your range of date and you run the report, and it looks like a cash flow statement like in the regular financial statement of a company. It starts with operating activities, and we see the breakdown of every element here. After that, it's the investing activity. In that database we don't have, so that's the reason why we see nothing. And after that, it's the financing activities, and ultimately we have our net cash flow, our monetary position at the end of the selected period. So also, if we move to the last report, here it's a visual tool to it gives you an image of your cash flow needs in the future. You can move the range of date here, and the system adapt itself regarding with all the information that he has in the database, and after that you see if you're cash flow positive or cash flow negative. You see when you will become cash flow positive or cash flow negative. Here, obviously, we don't have a lot of transaction in that database, so we don't have a cute graphic, but it would appear like this. Under the line, it's cash flow negative, obviously, and above the line, it's and you can project your cash flow needs or your cash flow situation in for a long range. So it's a quite simple tool. It's more visual than the other reports, so you can use it and have fun with that tool too. So it's but one thing that we have to keep in mind is the incoming cash flow. The system takes into account, if I move back there, I run the report, I expand. If I go in business master data, the system will always use the payment term here to project the cash flow, but we know that in the real life, not all the customer respect the delay. So you have to take this with a grain of salt. So you have to some time to tweak your report to take into account some of your customer that has a bad history of payment with you, because it could impact a lot the projection. So the system by default use the payment term here. So
Francis?
Yes?
Maggie has a few questions for us. Maggie, I don't know if you can unmute your microphone and ask them your questions. I just got that in the chat box. Maggie, just a sec. I'll just see her. Hang on, Maggie. There we go. Maggie, can you? Hi. All right.
Hi.
Sorry, I didn't realize. Okay. Sorry, I have a couple of questions about the statement of cash flow and the cash flow forecast. For those reports, is the criteria of what shows up there what you select in the cash flow tool, like further up the module from that, or how does it pick qualifiers to show up in that report?
Qualifier? What do you mean by qualifier?
Sorry, do you mind going back to the module list just so I can use the right word? So for here, let me go to. Okay, selection.
Here?
Yes, so the selection criteria, cash flow selection criteria.
Yeah.
Is this whatever you pick here, is that what will populate in your statement of cash flow and your cash flow forecast?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But not the statement of cash flow. The statement of cash flow is the cash flow forecast will take into account your sales provision or your purchase order and but the statement of cash flow, it's a real statement. It doesn't, you know, that it doesn't take into account the purchase order and the sales order. It's built with the real information into the database. So
whether or not you've selected in the GL account if it's cash flow relevant, or do you have to select?
Yes, they use the right. Yes, they have to be cash flow relevant to appear in the statement of cash flow.
So I've made my cash accounts cash flow relevant, but I haven't made my AR or AP GL accounts cash flow relevant, and I should.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are there?
And you can also make your I'm searching for the.
You have the French word?
Yes, immobilization. When you buy a plant or a building, in your investment activity, you have to put them also in.
Capital assets, fixed assets?
Yeah, capital asset, because it's part of investing. So you can put also your long-term liability, because it's an outflow of money when you pay your liabilities. So you can make them relevant, and they will appear up here.
Okay.
But for the cash flow forecast is a tool. It's a tool to predict your cash flow needs. So if you want to add a sales provision and purchase order, and you have to check them here.
Now, well, as for like say AP, if we have like reserved invoices, I didn't see those on the list.
Reserved invoices.
The account payables?
On the payable side, and we have reserved invoices.
Okay.
There it is. AP invoices.
I think it's called down payment here.
Okay.
We can have a reserve invoices on both sides, AP and AR. So you just have to check them here.
Dave, because they're under the same table, they would both be under the AR invoices and AP invoices.
Oh, they would be under the same table. Okay, cool. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay. For are we able to pick certain sales orders, or when you check in add marketing documents and you select all sales orders, will you get all of them, or can you pick a few?
No, I think that the system is built to, but I will take a note of that, and I will search a little bit, but
I was just curious. I mean, if something's a sales order, it should be certain anyway, but I was just curious about that.
Maggie, I have a question for you, Maggie. What version are you running on?
9.2.
9.2. Do you guys have the SAP Business One to Go document? I think I had sent that to you guys.
Yeah.
You've got it?
Yes,
Was there no mention of it in it?
I haven't looked at that document in a long time, but I'll be honest, the version I got was from 9.0. So
well, I'll send you 9.2. Okay, I'll send it to your email, but keep going with your questions anyway. But maybe sometimes we can find things in that. It's a fun document. Pretty much everything's in it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right.
Francis, I have one other question though, Francis, and we'll bring the question period again, afterwards. But I have Mary who's asking, just a second here, and Marie's Okay. You know what we'll do, guys, because I have a lot of questions. How about, Francis, just finish this little topic that you were going over, because you probably have other things to show us, and this might answer some questions. And before we go into budgets, I'll finish off with Mary's questions and the others. All right?
We can continue with the question. I
We
did,
can? Okay. All right.
but the last thing that I wanted to speak regarding this, it's the authorization. You come here, there, and you, like many other things in SAP, you can give full authorization to user read-only or no authorization. So you can manage this in the authorization section of the of business one. So on my side, it's the quick overview that I wanted to do.
On that, before going to budget, all right then. Well, I'll give you Mary's question. She says, when including marketing documents such as purchase order and sales order, does the system take into account terms of those documents to calculate cash flow positions?
They will, yes, they will take into account the numbers of days before, because normally on a PO we have our delivery date, so he will calculate the time from the PO to the delivery date, and after that the payment term of the of the PO that will become an invoice after the reception of the goods.
Okay,
so
Mary.
Yes, he takes into account both.
Mary, does that answer your question, or would you like to unmute and elaborate a bit? Just a second, just want to make sure. Mary. Okay, I think you had muted yourself. I don't know if you can unmute. Yes, it does. Thank you. All right. Just a second. I have another question here from Marie's, I think. Hang on. So, Marie's, the cash flow relevant box does not show up for the accounts payable accounts.
Okay. Yeah, but it's just
going to make sure I had read that properly. That's what she said. The cash flow relevant box does not show up for the accounts payable accounts. So I gather it's only for the receivables. Can you see if there's a reason why?
I think it's because it's a control account, so it's automatically added to the but I can take a look at this, but it's clear that they take into account the payable.
Okay. Well, I'm writing down this question, and I'll send you Maria's email, Francis, if you can reply to her afterwards. All right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let you go on. Thanks.
So now the budget. So if we go in the system initialization and general settings, there's a tab called budget. So there's not a lot of things to do here. The most important thing is if you set up your budget for annual budget or monthly budget, normally we want to work on a monthly basis. So you just need to come here and check that radio button, and it's all about that for the stats section. And if you now go in the chart of account and we select that account, and we go here in accounts detail, we see that this account, it's not automatically relevant to budget because it's a balance sheet account. So it depends of the company. Some company just budget their P&L and they don't budget their balance sheet account. But if you would like to budget your balance sheet account, you just have to come in every asset, liability, and equities account, checking that boxes. Otherwise, they won't appear in the budget section. And after that, you press update. So we don't want to update. If I go in an expense account, payroll expenses account, we see that it's already checked. So they are relevant to budget. Now, if we go to budget setup, and we can run main budget, we can see the budget. It's possible to create a budget for cost accounting when you have a cost center. Our database is not set with the cost center, so that's the reason why it's gray. But you can create your budget for all your different cost center if it applies to you. You can choose a method of distribution. For example, if we enter in that account, see we can manually change the amount for each month. It's some account will have a fixed amount, so it's not complicated. You just need to put equal and put when you put your amount here, the equal will split in 12 the amount. So but when you work on another account that is more seasonable, you may want to put the right amount for the right season. So and when you modify something here like this, for example, if I put 2000 and I update, we have to update difference before, and press update, and we see that the system turn the method automatically at manual. So it's here that you play with the method of distribution. And so you can, when it's equal, oops, pardon, you can put another number here, and the system change automatically the amount. So this is how it works. The budget, you can import your budget. You can create your budget in a Excel files, in an Excel sheet, and you can do what we call a DTW, data transfer workbench, and you can populate all those fields in no time. It's a possibility because it's long and laborious to go through each account and each month to put your all the amount that you need to put, and so you can easily import your budget from an Excel files to SAP Business One. And like I said before, you can also create a budget for cost accounting for those who use for those of you who use cost accounting model. So it's and you can do scenarios too. It's not quite complicated. They use the main budget and you create a scenario. You can import your scenario or copy your scenario. I don't have one available right now, so I can show it. It's a very easy tool. So And last thing, it's like it's the same thing than we saw earlier regarding the cash flow. We can come here and make that model read only or give full authorization or no authorization at all to any of the person, to any user of SAP in your company. So it's here that you tweak that setup. So this is what I had to say for the budget. So if you have some questions regarding this topic.
Do you guys have any questions? Well, I don't have anything in the chat box. Look, you guys, if, as I said, you're probably all on different versions of, we've got some on 9.3, 9.2, 9.1. I even have some on 8.8. I have the SAP business one to go. So if you guys want the guide for the version that you're running on, it's pretty fun because you can just type in what you're looking for and there's a lot of stuff in it. So you could just send me a little email if someone wants it. Francis, do you want to, since there's no questions, you want to just put on our last page just a reminder to everybody. So if when you guys need information from the support desk, I don't know, I say this all the time, but I insist, send an email per incident. Don't send one email to the support desk with 2 different topics because you might go over on your 30 minutes that are free. So send one. You've got your 30 minutes free per incident. And normally, if you know, everything should be set in on that. Our next session, because just to remind those who are new, we do these every 2 weeks. So our next webinars, our coffee break is going to be on September 21st. We're going to be covering inventory counting and posting with Christophe. So just keep an eye out for that one, and send me an email if you guys have any questions or use your support desk. So thanks a lot, Francis, for your help, and enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.